How's everyone? My name is Ryan, and welcome to The Mixologist, which is now The Flavor Artist. Facebook finally got around to approving my page change. I threw it up originally as a mixologist, kind of just first thing on my mind, but I wanted to make it more unique and more specific. Hence the name Flavor Art, because that's basically what this is. As I posted some days ago, that I would be demonstrating how e-liquid is made, and I really want to stress in this video safety, purity, and quality. Now, real quick, I want to go back briefly to how I got into this. I just didn't like what was out there. It was ingenuine. It wasn't authentic, you know. A lot of it tasted like medicine to me, and it wasn't working out. So one day I was at work, and there's this college-age kid next to me, and he was also a vape user. And I don't remember what he said exactly, but whatever he said really inspired me. Like, it just clicked. Like, I'm going 100%. I'm going to do this myself. Got just overly excited. I got home, got online, ordered my first starter kit, which the quality of was nil. It wasn't very good. Thereafter, several weeks of research upon several weeks of research, locating the right forums, finding the top concentrate brands, Flavora, Inuera, Flavor Art, The Flavor Apprentice. But it wasn't until I found the right mentor on YouTube, a man named Wayne, very smart, and he's basically the guru of this. And it's unique. His unique angle of this is he's helping guys like me, you know, from knowing nothing to knowing everything. He's hit every angle on this. You know, he's created many professional flavors. He shares his recipes online, which most would stray from sharing because they're very professional flavors. And a couple months now following him, I've come to a novice level. I'm still developing, as the page is still developing. And that's how it came to be. You know, I'm very passionate about this. I put a lot of research into this. And, you know, the page isn't just me trying to, you know, get my e-liquids to turn a profit. It's really to inform you as well. There's a lot of myth out there about the chemicals that are in e-liquid. Now, we don't know the long-term effects, but some of these chemicals have been studied for many decades. Not geared towards e-liquid, but for other reasons. And that's what I'm really trying to do. I'm trying to help inform people that this isn't nearly as harmful as the effects of tobacco, and to get you informed. And to also, if wanted, not only an alternative to tobacco, but quit the use of nicotine altogether. So with that, let's get started. Okay, y'all, check it out. This is where it all starts, the math. This is .1ml.com, one of the top 2 trusted e-liquid calculators. I mean, you'll see here we got a bunch of numbers. We're going to do a pretty complex recipe to really show you the precision that goes into this. You have the ability to register to this so you can save your recipes amongst other features. It also has, you can see the add ingredient button here. It has a database that will actually pick up the company and its flavors, so it's easier to find them. So, where we start is with our target, PG and VG ratio. What I've found is kind of the midpoint desirable ratio is 70-30, 70% vegetable glycerin, 30% propylene glycol. Put in 30%. And it's going to auto-correct for us and put in the 70. Then you come over to your nicotine strength. And we're going to do 15 milligrams. Now, you're probably thinking that's kind of high, but we have to consider that a cigarette on average is anywhere from as low as 10 milligrams to 30 milligrams. And the midpoint average of the cigarette is around 24 milligrams. So we're shooting kind of for the middle. Now, that high will not always work in all recipes because nicotine does change your flavor. But as you can see, we have a lot of flavor going on here, so it's not going to really make a huge difference. Next, we go to our volume. We're going to make a decent amount, 60 milliliters. Then we come down to our nicotine base. Now, I use a 48 milligram per milliliter VG base. And what you'll see here is that PG-VG ratio. Now, it's only PG in mine, so I'm gonna, what it already has, I'm gonna select 100. My nicotine strength, as I showed you, 48 milligrams per milliliter. Got that. Bring that back up. Now, we're into our recipe. And I have preset the ingredients, the flavors. Save a little bit of time here because you can see it's very complex. Now, I can't claim this recipe. This is Wayne's. It's a really good recipe. He quotes that this is his best recipe, where he's at with his mixing. And what it's going to portray is a Fuji apple raspberry almond macaroon cookie. Yeah, that's a very complex name even. Alright, let's get started. Inuera raspberry. That's going to be at 0.5%. Now, all these percentages I'm tweaking are going to be relatively low. Less is more in DIY. Reason being is because when certain compounds reach certain levels in your mixture, you get kind of a muted, harsh reaction. They conflict. It's chemistry. One of the first things I had to learn is get cooking out of my head and get into the mentality of chemistry. Next, we have Flavor West Yellow Cake. They're out of the United States. And that's going to be at 1%. We'll leave that alone. The Flavor Apprentice Bavarian Cream. Another company out of the United States. That's going to be at 1%. We'll leave that alone. Flavor Art Torone. A very strange flavor. Can't really explain too much on this flavor. I haven't tried it by myself, but it works very well in this. Flavor Art is one of the top dogs. They're out of Italy, culinary capital of the world. And that's going to be at 0.25%. Missed that. Flavor Art Almond. 1.5%. Flavor Art Fresh Cream, 0.5%. Flavor Art Meringue, 1%. We'll leave that alone. Flavor Art Cookie. Now this is going to be our top note. You're going to taste a lot of this. That's going to be a little higher, 2%. Flavor Art Fuji. This flavor is amazing, even by itself. And it's a good base pusher. Pushes a lot of recipes, brings them out, you know. And it definitely does that for this. And that's going to be at 1%. We'll leave that alone. Flavor Apprentice, Settle Pyrazine. Probably like, what the hell is that? That is actually an organic extract that comes from nuts, meat, and seeds. It does have a 5% PG base or mixture. And that's going to be at 0.5%. This is an enhancer. It's not a flavor. It's going to enhance our entire recipe. There you have it. Now, if everything didn't check out, I would get a red warning. Something would come up in red. It's saying that it's not going to work. Now we have all this established. Let's mix it up. Okay, this is what it takes. Here's the layout. We have 1 syringe, 2 heads, sterile, alcohol pads if needed. We have a couple drippers here because we have a few flavors that don't have drippers installed to them. Here's our bases: propylene glycol, liquid nicotine, vegetable glycerin, all USP kosher, 99.7 to 99.8% pure. 100 scale, that measures down to 0.01. Blue nitrile gloves. Under the gloves, we have 2 beakers, 1 for mixing, 1 for rinsing if needed. Our flavorings here in the back. Then, of course, our recipe. All right, let's do the damn thing already. First thing I do every time I mix is I make sure my scale's in calibration. Alexa, how much does a dime weigh?
Dime's average weight is 0.08 ounces, 2.27 grams.
And there it is, 2.27. We are calibrated. Put our mixing cup, beaker, tear it out. First thing we're going to do, I have 3 drippers here because you don't want to cross-contaminate your flavors. I have 3 that I have to do the dripper on. The rest have drippers installed into them. And we're going to use our enhancer first. Remember, as I said earlier, this is an organic extract from nuts, seeds, and some meats. Very strong smelling. Acetylpyrazine. Just has a kind of a scary name. Smells exactly like popcorn seed. And we're gonna need 0.21 grams. Put that aside. Always recap in case in some way you get confused and run the risk of using a flavor twice, especially when you have a recipe this big. Next is our Bavarian cream by the Flavor Apprentice at 1%, which is 0.41 grams. One thing I didn't add when I went over the e-liquid calculator, as you throw all these numbers in, obviously it's giving you your conversions, and this will do volume as well as grams. 0.41. Right on, bobbling. Set that one aside, as well as the concentrate. Last one that we have to use our dripper on. And always shake your flavors pretty well in case they settle in some way. Flavor West Yellow Cake. 1%, 0.41 grams. And this one smells exactly like a whipped frosting, birthday cake, kinda. And there it is, right on the 4-1 mark. Set that aside. I used to use syringes. I finally got over to weight some time ago. First time I made this recipe, it took me 3 hours because I was a noob. Second time, an hour and a half, got a little bit better. This cuts that down to just a couple of minutes, fraction. Now, it's just drip and go. Flavor Art Cookie at 2%, 0.83 grams. Do it. Flavor Art Almond, 1.5%, 0.62 grams. Right on. Flavor Art Fuji at 1%, 0.41 grams. Almost forgot to tear it. Or one. It's okay to go over 100th or under 100th. It's not gonna make too much of a difference. Flavor Art Meringue, 1%, 0.41 grams. It's gonna, yep, that went over a little bit, but we're okay. Fresh cream, flavor art. A lot of flavor art in here. And you'll notice flavor art, which is in Italy, and Anuera, which is out of Poland. Anything out of the United States, they seem to be more concentrated. Anything in the United, which we started around 1% when we kind of tweaked these percentages. The Flavor Apprentice and Flavor West, which is in America, the United States, they start around 5%, less concentrated. Not sure why that is, it just seems to be the way it is. I want my scale, because I was talking. Which isn't a problem though, because we just need to zero it out. Fresh cream. 0.5%, 0.21 grams. Right on. Tear that out. Anuera raspberry. Like I said, out of Poland. Never would have thought the Polish would have made a top flavor concentrate for the culinary world, but they do. And it's kind of like a candy raspberry. It smells really good. 0.5%, 0.21 grams. Torone, or strange flavor. I never tried this by itself. It would probably not be very tasteful by itself. I've seen an example online of it. The only thing really to explain it, it's kind of a cheesecake, like nutty, just dessert type of thing. I've never heard of it until I started mixing. 0.25%, and that's going to be at 0.10 grams. Very little. It's going very well. We can use it right on. And our last one, Flavor Art Meringue, 1%, 0.41 grams. A little over, we're okay. Tear that out. Now we go to our bases. We're going to start with our vegetable glycerin, 21.98 grams. And this vegetable glycerin is what makes your vapor, the reaction. Vegetable glycerin as well as propylene glycol will both make the vapor, but it's mainly your vegetable glycerin. It's a little sweeter. The more you add of this, the more vapor you're going to have. And it usually makes up half your recipe. propylene glycol. This wasn't an additive at first. I have information on the page about this and its effects, and lots of research has been done in the last decades, not towards inhalation, well, towards inhalation, but not towards vaping. And we're going to need, this was what they added to give ex-smokers that throat hit that was desired. And we are going to use a syringe for this. This is an 18 gauge cattle needle. Get these at TSC. Really want to use blunt heads, but this is what they had. Just be careful if you do use sharps. And we need 8.6 grams. Which calls for a little over 8 milliliters, so not to be right on because we're using weight. There goes my scale again, a little bit irritating. Okay, 8.6 grams. A little bit more. We're at 7.9. .61. One rinse. This is you want to use distilled or ionized water. A family member of mine actually makes this with a distiller, and when tested, it is 0 parts per million. That is about as pure as water gets. Now, our nicotine. With this concentration of nicotine, 48 milligrams per milliliter VG base, if enough of this came in contact with your skin, it would make you very sick. If somehow you ingested enough of this, it could be fatal. This is where the gloves are very important due to that fact. Usually I would use a syringe for this, just in case we're out of calibration, but we know we're not. And the other reason is because it needs damn near 13 grams. And being vegetable glycerin based, which is terribly difficult to draw into a syringe, that would be a pain in the ass. Halfway there. I'm being very careful with this. there we have it. Take my longer, use this as a stir. You really want to stir this up real well, and then when it's bottled, you want to shake the shit out of it. And here we have it, a very premium e-liquid. You want to get a lot of bubbles in there, even before you bottle it up. See, you're starting to get the oxygen in there. Okay, people, I appreciate it very much for viewing. Place a like on my page. It gets my name across Facebook. And I hope you liked the video. Thank you.